Thomas, we're back, my friend. Rising star in the house.
I love the rising star. Rick, how are you?
I am great. Happy birthday, brother.
Thank you. And welcome to Tasty Trade in Chicago. Do you get out to Chicago often?
This is the first time I've ever been to Chicago.
Look at that.
Time.
Welcome to our wonderful city.
Yes, I had a run through the city yesterday.
You
Beautiful.
did? How many miles did you run yesterday?
Probably 7-8 miles.
7-8 miles.
that's a good one.
Where are you staying? In the neighborhood?
Right down there at the Crown Plaza.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you came out with your family? It's awesome.
Yes, I did. Two-thirds of the remainders. Two-thirds of the remainder.
Two-thirds of the
I got
remainder.
one at home and two out there in the lobby.
Beautiful. And so you got a chance to check out the lakefront, everything, you know. I mean, did you get around the city at all, just the run?
No, I rested.
You've rested.
I rested.
All right, cool. Well, welcome, and we are very excited to hear your story. How long have you been interested in the markets? Like, how far back does this kind of?
I started back investing in 1986.
1986.
Right.
Okay. And so, how old were you approximately? You just
I don't tell it my age.
Okay.
You have to guess.
all right.
I'll make
So
you guess.
I'll skip on that.
Okay.
But
You would do the math real fast, and I'd be in trouble.
okay. So 1986.
He's good like that, isn't he?
He is good with math.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is good with math.
hate
We're
that.
we're talking 30 years in the market minimum.
Yes.
And so and most of those years from reading your bio and stuff, and we'll post some stuff in a few seconds. Most of those years were pretty much like straight mutual funds, kind of old
Straight
classic
mutual funds,
passive.
yes.
Yeah. What was the first investment you ever made?
I probably bought Legg Mason Value Trust.
Like one of the leg funds back
One Legg Mason.
That's where you started out.
That's where it started out.
That's okay. And every year when you make more money, you'd basically just stick a little money away.
Absolutely.
At what point in your life, or what year did you start to say, okay, I need more control over this?
I've always had my thumbs in it. Always wanted to, invest it in it. But the way to kind of grow money is the way you make dust. You just got to let it sit there for long enough.
Okay. And so when do you think, around what time did you start getting, a little more active, participating with your money outside of it, becoming a little less passive?
I started being less passive probably in December of 2012.
December of 2012.
That's when I kind of tiptoed into options.
And what was the driver behind that? You kind of seen enough, and because now you're a solid 25 years into this experiment, okay? And at some point, from 1986 to 2012, I mean, you're sitting there and you're like, okay, now, I mean, something sets you off.
I've always been a tinkerer, so I will try to find a way to do it a little bit better.
Okay, cool. And what'd you do?
I got interested in the options class from TDA.
Okay.
My first option trade, well, the guy there at the option trade was a guy named Steve Rashes, which I think you know him.
Sure. One of my oldest friends.
One of your oldest friends? Well,
Yeah.
Please apologize to him because I badgered him so bad. He had to be like a monk to be so patient with me. Never did make the trade, but I made another trade that month in the Russell Small Cap Fund.
I hired him in 1987.
You hired him.
In 1987.
It was in July, and it was like freezing. It was snowing, raining.
Drove me crazy for 20 years, and but 25 years. But
I paid him back for about a month.
Yeah, it's a very, very bright guy. But the and when you started to use options and or derivatives or whatever, all the products, like what were you doing at first? 2012, 2013, whatever it is, because it was the end of 2012. You're saying. So 2013, like what kind of trades did you make? What kind of strategies did you do?
I always run naked, so I'm always selling naked puts.
Sell naked puts. Because
Absolutely.
the reason you sell naked puts is what? Just because that was another way of getting long with higher chances of success?
Potentially, but just want to have a little income coming in. If I got exercise on stock, I got exercise at a lower price than it was the day I made the original trade.
So you just like the pot odds?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
like the probabilities.
How would you pick a stock?
Usually used ETFs, and I used a little research on Investors Business Daily, 3 and 6 month relative strength.
Okay. Perfect.
Figuring those stocks are going to keep on going, and trend is your friend, which is not really the truth. but the trend is your friend. So I would just take a couple of dollars below whatever the index was, and usually I would hold it to it.
Now, you're an engineer by trade.
No, I'm a programmer, database programmer.
A database programmer, right? And as a database programmer, where was the interest and infatuation with the markets? Where'd that come from?
Straight out of college, really.
Straight out of college.
Straight out of college. I just never wanted to have to be under somebody else's thumb.
Got it. So walk us through. How'd you end up 2013?
2013,
Yeah.
I made a couple $1,000s, but it was the roller coaster ride of the century.
So you're up a few thousand.
It was Dollywood all over the place.
Dollywood all over.
Dollywood.
Up a few thousand, down a few thousand, mostly naked puts.
Mostly naked puts. It was just like you go on the rides. You go up, slow, and then coming down, it's just like this.
And you don't mind if I tell people about the account size then? It was around $50,000, right?
Correct.
Okay. And that was just and to be fair, I just want to be clear, that was a fraction of your wealth, a fraction of your net worth.
Very small percentage.
Right.
Very small.
Okay. So you were the reason you were comfortable with the naked approach at the time was because you saw it as the highest probability of success, and it was a small fraction of your net worth.
It is true, but also because I've never owned a bond in my life. I can live with those ups and downs.
Okay. Take us through 2014 as you start to get more experience, having an entire year kind of under your belt. In 2014, you weren't as successful.
No, 2014 was a good year. 2014, I made probably $7,000.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
That,
Yeah, right.
Made $11,000 actually.
$11,000. Just under, let's call it, 17% or whatever it is, about the same amount of capital, and using the same approach.
Just a few more trades.
Right, but you had some pretty good volatility within your own account.
True.
Okay. 2015 was the year that you started to experience tastytrade for the first time. Wasn't it the end of 2014?
Somewhere in 2014, I found the epiphany, and I came along, and then it started with whatever research you put out. Yeah. I had to back test, so I wrote a 500-line toss code just to test what you were putting out there, and it made sense to me originally, but I still wanted to validate it.
And how did your trading change? Then how did you start trading differently from that point in 2014 through kind of 2015? I want to know about the changes. So you started watching. Something piqued your interest. Something got you fired up.
What was the catalyst?
What was the catalyst? I mean, obviously you wanted to make money, but that was the motivation. But what was kind of the turning point? Like what strategy did you apply that really made a difference? Like how'd you start doing things a little bit differently? And we're only in 2015 right now.
Well, true, but before that, I had been breaking all the rules.
In what sense?
All the rules that you guys put out there, as far as being able to measure when the implied volatility is too high, being too large, trading in illiquid stocks.
These are classic mistakes that you just had to convince yourself of by doing them sometimes. By making those mistakes.
True, you make mistakes, but I got fortunate because I didn't get burnt as bad as I guess I could have.
We had a 2-year period where the markets were relatively slow. That was a good thing. Saved your butt in that case.
Saved me.
Yeah.
But I got my lessons later on.
Okay.
I got my stripes to prove it.
So talk to us about 2015. Talk to us about what mistakes you talked a little bit about liquidity and trading too big. What other mistakes did you make, or tell us more about those mistakes, because people learn from rising star mistakes. Like you said, you were trading underlyings that weren't that liquid, or your positions were too big. What do you mean by your positions were too big?
My positions were probably. At one time, I had 15 contracts of Japan fund, and that was probably my whole portfolio at the time.
The whole $50,000.
Whole $50,000.
Yeah, because it's a 56-star stock. Whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Sure. That's the capital requirement. And so you didn't have any diversification. It was just too much too much concentration.
Too much concentration.
How'd you end up for 2015?
2015, I lost about $7,000.
On a $50,000 account.
Correct.
So you lost about 13%. Okay, got it. But that didn't discourage you. It just made you mad at yourself or challenged more?
More relentless, I guess would be the word. I describe myself as a relentless learner. I'm not Jacob Perlman smart.
Yes.
Few of us are, right?
Yeah.
But if there's an answer out there, I'm gonna figure it out somehow.
So what did you do differently that you were motivated, obviously, by the small loss, but it didn't discourage you, but what did you do differently in 2016?
The biggest thing was I started trading one lot. I became a Johnny one lot. Right, Tony?
For sure.
For sure.
You always have to go to Tony when you talk about Johnny one lot.
sure.
Johnny
Yeah,
one
for
lot.
sure.
That's his
So when you
slogan.
said
Bring me your Johnnies.
when you say you reduced your size,
Reduce my size because I figure if it was a good thing, if it went through my strike on the putt side, okay, and I have one, I can survive that by just buying another one at the next lowest strike price.
So and you increased your number of occurrences.
Yes, I probably had 1,000 trades.
1,000 trades in 2016.
trades.
Yeah, probably more.
2016.
Probably more, yeah, at least 2016. And you increased the capital you were managing.
Yes, before the beginning of that year. Well, I kind of, from some of the profits and rolled over some other accounts, I was up to a little over $100,000.
So in 2016, this is your full year. You're trading a little over $100,000. You made a little over, let's say, 1,000 trades, or however many. Is that round turn or just one way?
I just did the math on how much I pay for commissions.
Oh, okay. So say it's 1,000 trades, and it's usually more because everybody always underestimates how much they trade. And then you, so a lot more occurrences, a lot smaller size, and more capital.
More capital probably wasn't. More capital just came along.
Yeah, sure. How? Any strategy changes? Did you go from like just short puts? Were you also selling calls or strangles or straddles? Like what else were you doing?
I did sell some calls, so I got both sides of the market. So once you have a putt and a call, then you're involved in both sides.
Yeah, sure. And so, the funny thing is that 2015 was actually a year that the market did less. The market was more volatile. The market moved around a little bit more in 2016. It was a harder year, I think, for selling premium than 2015. But the funny thing was, you finished 2016. How'd you do?
Over 50%.
Over 50%. Hence your status as the rising star.
Wow.
Yes.
Where am I
It's
at?
beautiful.
It is.
So over 50%. Did that surprise you, or did you think, oh, okay, this is what I should be doing?
I guess a combination of both. But then I did a little Google research and found out that there were only 2 other mutual funds, the first 5 mutual funds, that actually did better than me last year. And I'm like,
and those are outliers too.
well, I know one's just a bad fund. One's like made 70%, but you would have had the same amount of money 4 years ago as you did this past year. Right. So there's one, and then you have 3 X funds.
So what does that mean to you?
That's why I'm here.
So, but what's important about that is that when funds have that kind of performance, it's usually because of the underlying that they're invested in, and it's usually an outlier move. With you, the hope is that this is something that is sustainable.
Yes.
Do you think it is sustainable? I mean, are you confident that, I'm not saying 50% because we don't know, but are you confident in the methodology you're using now that you've come up with something that you can continue to do for the rest of your life?
Oh, absolutely. I'll be doing this till I'm 100.
Right.
I'll be doing this till I'm 100 until too old to run, too old to do anything.
Yeah.
Good job.
I mean, why wouldn't you? Do you?
It's fun. It's engaging.
How much time do you spend in the markets right now? I mean, whatever, being engaged in the markets. How much of a, I know you're a health junkie. Are you a market junkie too?
I'm in there every day that they're open, but I'm not saying I'm glued to a computer screen because some days there's not much going on now, so I'm just managing the positions I have.
Right.
Rolling.
How many positions do you have on right now?
Between 25 and 30.
Between 25 and 30. Is that a pretty consistent number with you?
Yes.
And are you still keeping your size small?
1.
Beautiful. And are you finding yourself changing are you finding it more difficult to find trades right now, or is it more difficult to find trades? It's been a little hard for us this year to find trades. What hurdles are you facing 2017 so far?
2017's still been a good year. I mean, I would say if I kept this pace up, I probably would have another 50%. And I'm trying 2 accounts now. The goal for this year is to keep the other account, see what happens.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to learn the options with an IRA account.
Sure. A little harder, a little more limiting.
Few more restrictions,
Yeah.
yes. But, I'm going to see what happens because, if I can do that, then each year I will ramp up until I get to all in.
Yeah. No, of course. And what would you say, like, talk to us about a little bit about some of the obstacles that you still, that you still have. Like, what are the things, and I know the return's unbelievable. I know you said you're on a great pace this year so far, which is awesome. But, like, what obstacles do you find? What's challenging for you?
Well, you guys always saying about to put on more diversified strategies, and I have to prove them to myself first. So, like your earnings plays, I haven't got to earnings plays yet. I haven't got to calendars.
Okay. So you're sticking pretty much with a more aggressive kind of short premium across the board.
Absolutely.
And you're totally comfortable with that. How much of your capital do you think you're using as far as your buying power reduction?
A little over half.
A little over half. And are you pretty consistent there?
Yes.
How about your style of rolling? What do you do when you get in trouble?
First thing I try to do is when I get in trouble, I have a structured approach to it. I didn't probably start improving until I put it in paper. I wrote an email. I said, let's look at it. It's just a draft email, but it just says you do this when you first initiate the trade. Then if you get in trouble, this is what you do.
Do you think that was that motivation or that learning, when you learned what to do when you were in trouble, was that significant in changing your results?
Yes, because I think I heard something that Tony said about the best time to roll is when your position goes out of the money. So when something goes out of the money that was in the money for a couple times, couple closes, because it can touch once or twice, or it can go into money for a day or two. But once it gets past 2 days, then it's like, hey, I gotta think about if I'm going to roll. If it's like less than 20 days.
Are you indifferent to product? Do you care what you trade?
I don't care what I trade.
You don't care what you trade?
I don't care what I trade.
Yeah. So now liquidity is important because when we first started talking, you were like, yeah, well, I was looking at these different kinds of funds and, blah, blah, blah. You were thinking in terms of much more of a big macro picture. And now you're thinking really in terms of, just what's liquid and where the opportunity is.
Yeah, if it's liquid, I will trade it. Okay.
Do you have certain guidelines with respect to like implied volatility that you're looking for?
Yes, I have real strict guidelines. I got another caveat, on top of yours. I follow the vol.
Okay.
If it doesn't meet my criteria for volatility,
yeah,
not interested. Strict.
What do you think you're obviously a smart guy, and you've been around. You've created a lot of wealth for yourself over in your lifetime. Why do you think that lots of other smart people aren't intrigued or challenged by markets? Like, what do you think holds back do you think it's just lack of access to information like what's here, or what's the challenge?
Well, you guys are great. As far as information, free, unbiased information, I give it out to people a lot, but you just don't see it click in with them.
Yeah, why not?
They can be intelligent. Even if I said, I would teach you or I would lead you through the process. I tell people, I say, if you want to learn my way of doing it, it's like picking off the menu at Denny's. You pick something from this column, you watch this column and this column. If they all line up, it's a trade to be made.
You don't really eat at Denny's, do you? Good, because we were
probably Bob's.
Oh yeah. What do you see yourself, other than adding maybe some more binary events like earnings and some other things like that? What else do you see? Is it more like, do you see yourself just adding more capital as you prove your success, the sustainability of your success, or do you see it? What else do you see? How can you grow this? It's just a little bit more level of confidence. I'm going to need to get through this year see how the regular account goes, how the IRA goes. I have the capital there. I can just ramp it up anytime I want to. I could be your small hedge fund tomorrow if I wanted to, but I gotta have the unshakable confidence. do you think of yourself as like a small hedge fund manager right now with your own capital? Because that's how I like to think of myself that way, but I don't know if you can, like, do you think of yourself that way?
I'm just a regular guy.
Yeah.
I'm just a regular guy.
But do you think of yourself as like, hey, this is kind of cool, you know, or do you think of it as I don't understand why everybody's not doing this.
I know.
I don't understand it either. You guys beat the drums every day, and I'm there working out, and I'm like, why doesn't more people listen to this? Why can't the people just kind of try it?
You were telling me you do volunteer fire department, right?
I work at I am a volunteer fireman.
Volunteer fireman.
Nah, she can't say that. I'm an associate member of the volunteer fire department.
Right, okay.
I don't go out on squads. I don't go out on runs.
Sure.
But, yeah.
But you help out.
I help out. Yes, I do.
Okay. And you're saying, like, you listen to this in the firehouse. And they think you're crazy.
Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I put you guys on at the firehouse, take my computer over to the firehouse, and 99 out of 100 times, I'm in there by myself, working out. And you guys, it's always like, you know, Tony kind of cranks on you, just a little bit.
Best part of my day.
Cranks on you, and I I bust out laughing, and they come in because if they come in all the time, and they come in, they scatter, and they come in, they scatter. But when they come in, they're usually hearing data from the market or something like that. And when I'm busting out laughing, what's so funny? I say, you guys just would not understand. Wouldn't understand at all.
Rick, it's really been it's been great to meet you, and it's been interesting to hear your story. I think your success, especially last year, 50% returns, and you're on pace again this year, and just the process. It took you a couple of years to kind of ramp up. It's really inspiring. In that sense, it's a very inspiring story, and I know your passion and dedication to this is just incredible. So keep it going, man.
Thank you.
Keep it going.
Thank you. You guys are awesome. And the tastylive promotion is unbelievable.
Thank you. I do the best I can with what
Unbelievable. I can just see my wife or daughter just touring around, going to Target, going to Panera, and that red thing with that with that Rising Star license plate.
Beautiful.
It's awesome. Have a safe trip home.
Thank you so much.
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back in 90 seconds. We got the opening bell. You listen to Taste Trade Live.
What up, everybody? I hope you liked this video. Click below to watch more videos, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to check out tastytrade.com.